when we started supporting Special Olympics, actually was 1978, and our whole reason for getting involved in it, once I had gone down and received my hug, uh, it became clear that we and the department needed to assist Special Olympics Kansas with their summer games. They didn't have enough funds to put on a banquet. So the police department took it upon themselves to get them a facility, to get caterers, to get a band, to serve refreshments for the athletes and the coaches who came in. And that's how we started. And then the torch run, and that gave us the community that we wanted here locally in Wichita and the region. But then the torch run came along in 1981, which was an idea of the officers who came to me and said, "Chief, we want to run the torch." And they ran it along with the CEO of Special Olympics Kansas to South High School. And that's when the business people called and said, "Hey, Chief, that's a great idea. What can we do?" And we said, "Send money." And then also a conversation between Kirk Miles, the CEO, and me as the police chief. We got an idea that this could be a bigger thing. We could run the torch in the state of Kansas, not just in Wichita, but from, say, Kansas City down to Wichita. We could make it a statewide event. And then we talked more about it and said, well, what about making it a universal event across the United States? And that's when we started going to talk to Special Olympics, to Eunice and to Sarge, and get their support and input. And it grew from there because the officers involved, but they were involved for helping. And as indicated, the funds came after the fact, but they were needed to support Special Olympics, all the programs. And that's what they do now. And over the years, the torch run, which is the key event that started everything, has expanded into worldwide events. Each state, each province, each country having their own events to raise money, whether it be a plane pull, a polar plunge, or setting on a donut shop. Each one comes up and all that money stays for Special Olympics. And as it grew, the executive council came into play. The executive council became the guiding light, the support system. And as we grew, then it became apparent that the funds were coming in, and that was offering stability for Special Olympics. And so when we set the goal a few years ago, very, very few years ago, at $1 billion, that was something that just came to me when I was standing in front of everyone. And I thought, well, let's just raise $1 billion. It was a lofty goal, and we would have gotten close. But then COVID came along, and of course, everyone blames everything on COVID, so we'll blame this on it. But as law enforcement does all the time, just because barriers are put up or confusion arises, our responsibility is to still protect, to preserve peace to the best of our ability. And when we run into obstacles, we figure out how to deal with them and how to get around them. So even though we had some unknown concerns, not only as individuals, but as a law enforcement torch run, what we found was it was so stable that even in the midst of the COVID epidemic, the pandemic that took over the world, our law enforcement torch run raised $44 million in a time where the rest of the world had basically shut down economically, which speaks to the stability and the foundation of the law enforcement torch run. So at the end of 39 years, as we enter into our 40th year this year, we've raised $904 million, and we will make our $1 billion goal. It may take a year, it may take 2 years longer, but who wins? The Special Olympic athlete.